Blake Lively just reignited a Hollywood firestorm, filing new accusations against Justin Baldoni that could change everything. What started as whispers during the filming of It Ends With Us has now exploded into a full-blown legal battle, with both sides refusing to back down. Baldoni's team wasted no time firing back, calling Lively's claims underwhelming and filled with hearsay. But with new witnesses stepping forward, the question remains: who's really telling the truth? The answer might surprise you. Background context. The feud between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni didn't just come out of nowhere. It has deep roots that trace back to the highly anticipated production of It Ends With Us, a film adaptation of Colleen Hoover's bestselling novel. The project had already garnered significant attention, not only because of its source material, but also because of the star-studded cast, including Lively and Baldoni, who also served as a producer. However, behind the scenes, tensions were reportedly brewing long before the first accusations surfaced. According to insiders, the atmosphere on set wasn't always as polished and professional as it appeared in promotional material. There were whispers of discomfort, subtle power dynamics, and incidents that at the time were either brushed off or quietly documented. The first real hint of trouble came in late 2023, when vague reports started circulating about alleged misconduct during the filming process. Initially, these claims didn't have names attached, and they were dismissed as rumors. But everything changed when Lively, known for her typically private approach to personal matters, stepped forward with formal allegations. She claimed that Baldoni's behavior toward her and others on set had crossed professional boundaries, creating an uncomfortable work environment. It was a bold move, especially considering Baldoni's carefully cultivated image as a family-oriented, socially conscious figure in Hollywood. At first, Baldoni responded with silence, seemingly hoping the storm would pass without significant damage. But as media outlets picked up the story and Lively's legal team began building their case, it became clear this wasn't going to be another fleeting celebrity scandal. The situation escalated when Lively filed an initial complaint, alleging inappropriate conduct and claiming that other women on set had similar experiences. Baldoni's camp, of course, denied everything, calling the accusations baseless and motivated by ulterior motives. This back and forth set the stage for what would soon become one of the most talked about legal battles in Hollywood. What makes this case even more complex is the personal dynamic between the two stars. Lively and Baldoni weren't just co-workers. They had previously spoken highly of each other in interviews, with Lively even praising Baldoni's directorial approach early in the production process. That positive rapport now feels like a distant memory, replaced by sharp legal exchanges and public statements designed to discredit the opposing side. As the controversy gained traction, fans of both celebrities found themselves divided, with social media platforms buzzing with speculation, support, and, of course, judgment. It was no longer just about the movie. It was about reputations, careers, and the delicate balance of power in Hollywood. Blake Lively's amended complaint. Blake Lively's initial complaint was serious, but her amended filing turned the heat up several notches. On February 20th, her legal team submitted new documents that didn't just repeat the original claims, they expanded them, adding fresh allegations and introducing the voices of two other women who reportedly witnessed Baldoni's behavior firsthand. According to the amended complaint, these women were present during multiple filming sessions and experienced similar treatment, ranging from inappropriate comments to situations that allegedly crossed professional boundaries. Lively's lawyers argued that these incidents weren't isolated, but part of a broader pattern of conduct that had been quietly tolerated until now. One of the most striking parts of the new filing was the claim that Baldoni had acknowledged the complaints in writing as early as May 2023. If true, this could be a game changer. Written acknowledgement of misconduct, especially in the form of emails or internal reports, would be difficult for Baldoni's defense team to dismiss as mere hearsay. Lively's legal team wasted no time emphasizing this point, suggesting that Baldoni's current denials contradict his previous actions. They argued that the existence of such documentation not only validated Lively's claims, but also exposed a deliberate attempt to downplay the situation when it first came to light. Lively's amended complaint didn't stop there. It also accused Baldoni's production company of failing to take appropriate action after the initial reports surfaced. According to Lively's filing, there were internal discussions about the complaints, but nothing was officially documented or addressed in a meaningful way. This, her team argued, created an environment where inappropriate behavior could continue unchecked. The complaint also highlighted the emotional toll the situation had taken on Lively, describing how the alleged incidents affected her mental well-being and made it increasingly difficult to focus on her work. Perhaps the most headline-grabbing aspect of the amended filing was the subtle yet pointed reference to Baldoni's public persona. Lively's legal team noted the contrast between Baldoni's image as a vocal advocate for women's rights and the behavior described in the complaint. It was a strategic move, designed not just to strengthen the legal case, but to sway public opinion. After all, in Hollywood, reputation often matters just as much as the law. By positioning Baldoni as someone who preached one thing while allegedly practicing another, Lively's team ensured the story would dominate entertainment news cycles for days, if not weeks. Justin Baldoni's response. Justin Baldoni didn't stay silent for long after the amended complaint hit the headlines. Within hours, his legal team released a strongly worded statement, dismissing the new claims as underwhelming and filled with unsubstantiated hearsay. The choice of words was deliberate, designed to cast doubt not only on Lively's accusations, but also on the credibility of the unnamed witnesses. According to Baldoni's lawyers, the fact that these women had yet to reveal their identities publicly made their testimonies less credible, a classic defense tactic aimed at discrediting claims before they gained traction. But Baldoni's response didn't stop at legal jargon. His team also took a more personal approach, referencing Lively and her husband Ryan Reynolds' recent appearance on Saturday Night Live. During the show's 50th anniversary special, the couple had made a lighthearted joke about the legal battle, a moment that quickly went viral. Baldoni's lawyers seized on this, suggesting that the joke undermined the seriousness of Lively's claims. If the plaintiff truly believed these allegations were life-altering, would they really be laughing about them on national television? The statement read. It was a calculated move, attempting to paint Lively as someone using the legal system for publicity rather than justice. However, the most significant part of Baldoni's response was his outright denial of any written acknowledgement of misconduct. His team claimed that while there had been workplace discussions about general on-set dynamics, there was never any formal admission of inappropriate behavior. They framed the so-called documentation as a misinterpretation of standard HR practices, arguing that Lively's team was twisting mundane emails into damning evidence. This line of defense suggested that Baldoni's lawyers were preparing for a hard fight, unwilling to settle or concede any ground. Baldoni himself remained relatively quiet, avoiding direct interviews or social media posts about the case. Instead, his representatives spoke on his behalf, emphasizing his continued work on other projects and his commitment to clearing his name. Behind the scenes, however, insiders reported that Baldoni was deeply frustrated, viewing the legal battle as not just a professional threat, but a personal betrayal. After all, he and Lively had once shared a cordial working relationship, making the current animosity all the more striking. The role of the supporting witnesses. One of the most pivotal elements of Lively's amended complaint is the introduction of two supporting witnesses, women who, according to Lively, were present during key incidents and can corroborate her claims. While their identities have not been publicly disclosed, the filing described them as crew members who worked closely with both Lively and Baldoni throughout the production of It Ends With Us. Their testimonies, if credible, could significantly strengthen Lively's case, transforming it from a he said, she said dispute into a broader workplace misconduct claim. According to Lively's legal team, these women reported experiencing similar behavior from Baldoni, including comments and actions that allegedly made them uncomfortable. More importantly, the complaint states that they documented these experiences at the time they occurred, creating a paper trail that could prove invaluable in court. If these records exist, and align with Lively's timeline, they could dismantle Baldoni's defense, especially if the written acknowledgement mentioned earlier comes into play. However, Baldoni's team has already begun challenging the credibility of these witnesses. In their public response, they dismissed the claims as hearsay from unnamed persons and argued that the lack of transparency undermines their validity. Legally speaking, Baldoni's right to confront his accusers is a fundamental part of due process. His lawyers have already indicated they will push for the identities of these women to be revealed, a move that could either solidify their testimonies or, if inconsistencies arise, weaken Lively's case. The decision to keep the witnesses anonymous, for now, appears to be strategic. Lively's team likely wants to protect them from potential backlash while ensuring their stories remain consistent. However, as the trial date approaches, anonymity will no longer be an option. If these women step forward and their testimonies hold up under cross-examination, they could become the most critical pieces of evidence in the entire case. On the other hand, if their stories falter or appear rehearsed, Baldoni's defense could use that to cast doubt on the entire complaint. The court battle ahead. With the trial set for March of next year, both sides are already preparing for what promises to be a contentious courtroom battle. Legal analysts have noted that the case has all the hallmarks of a drawn-out fight: high-profile figures, conflicting testimonies, and the potential for explosive evidence. Lively's team seems confident, repeatedly emphasizing the strength of their documentation and witness testimonies. Baldoni's camp, meanwhile, is doubling down on the narrative that this is nothing more than an attempt to tarnish his reputation. One of the most significant pretrial developments involves the potential for depositions. Baldoni's lawyers have already indicated that they plan to depose not just Lively, but also her witnesses, production staff, and even executives from the studio behind It Ends With Us. The goal is clear: find inconsistencies, expose contradictions, and undermine the credibility of the claims before they ever reach a jury. It's a classic strategy, but one that could backfire if the witnesses hold firm under pressure. Equally important is the question of whether the parties will settle out of court. So far, neither side seems willing to entertain that possibility. Lively's team appears determined to see this through to trial, possibly viewing it as a broader stand against workplace misconduct in Hollywood. Baldoni, for his part, seems equally committed to clearing his name, believing that a settlement would be seen as an admission of guilt. This mutual refusal to back down ensures that the case will continue making headlines in the months to come. The financial stakes are also worth noting. While the exact damages Lively is seeking haven't been disclosed, industry insiders speculate they could reach 7 figures, especially if emotional distress and career impact are factored in. For Baldoni, the cost of losing goes beyond money. It's about reputation. In an industry where perception often dictates opportunity, a guilty verdict could significantly impact his career as both an actor and producer. As the case barrels toward trial, the stakes couldn't be higher for either side. For Blake Lively, this isn't just about personal justice. It's about accountability in an industry that has long struggled with power imbalances. For Justin Baldoni, it's a fight for his reputation, career, and the image he spent years carefully crafting. Both sides are digging in, and with new evidence and witness testimonies still potentially on the horizon, the battle is far from over. The biggest question now is what happens when the supporting witnesses finally step forward. Will their testimonies align perfectly with Lively's claims, or will cracks begin to show under cross-examination? And what about the alleged written acknowledgement from Baldoni? Does it truly exist, and if so, will it be the smoking gun that tips the scales in Lively's favor? With the trial date fast approaching and neither side showing signs of backing down, one thing is certain: this Hollywood feud is about to get even messier. Stay tuned, because the next chapter might just change everything.